listeners, to the BizBlend podcast with your host Sana, where business meets bold ideas and hustle meets heart, and leadership transforms into legacy. Now, in so many of our conversations, we have talked about emotional intelligence, how leadership can be redefined with other aspects as well, communication, servant leadership, intuitive leadership. But today's episode, I think it's for every entrepreneur out there who's ever felt buried under their own to-do list or checklist, their calendar invites, their notifications and prompts and whatnot. Well, we are diving deep into the art and the science of delegation, how letting go can actually help you gain control. Yes. And listeners, joining me is Renee Hastings. She's the president and CEO of Executive Help Now. And with over 15 years of leadership and a powerhouse VA agency, Virtual Assistants, Renee's mission is simple, but it's profound, which is to help entrepreneurs reclaim their time and work in their zone of genius. Now, from coaching with Dale Carnegie to being featured on NBC's KCRA News, Rennie brings wisdom, heart, and actionable strategies to the table. And as a podcaster, I'm really thrilled to explore not just the how of delegation, but also how it shifts the way we perceive control, leadership, and overall success. So grab your notebook, your journal, or your favorite cup of beverage because this conversation might be the game changer you didn't know you needed. So, with that, Rennie, welcome to the show, and it is such an honor to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Sana. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
So, Rennie, the most highlighting part when I was reading out your intro is how you help leaders operate in their zone of genius. Now, what do you think hold entrepreneurs back the most from delegating, and how do we start overcoming that fear of letting that control go out of their hands?
Oh, I love this question because it is so varied for depending on the individual. There are some people who struggle with perfectionism and they think that only they can do it. If they don't do it, it's not going to be done right. Or they struggle with trust issues. They may find it hard to trust other people to complete their task according to their level of satisfaction or to their standard of excellence. Some executives lack training or don't know how to properly train somebody to do what it is that they need to have done because they've been doing it for so long themselves. It's in their head, so they just know it by heart. And so when it comes time to actually showing someone how to do it, that can be a challenge for them. They're like, oh, if I have to take all this time to train, then I might as well just do it myself. But that is very short sighted. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. They also fear mistakes. They fear that if the person that they delegate something to makes a mistake, it could lead to potential problems or setbacks in their lives. And they also fear losing control. I think that is the biggest thing is losing control. The delegation can make managers feel like they're losing control over their work processes and the outcomes. Which is completely understandable. When you've been used to doing everything yourself for so long, all of these feelings are very valid, very real, and they're not alone. Like, almost everyone struggles with this, even I struggled with it myself. And we have several clients that we serve that we've had to actually coach through these particular type of situations because we know how challenging it can be to let someone else into your life, to allow them to support you, to allow them to care for you, to allow them to serve you in this kind of way, and then for you to allow yourself to be served as the client.
I absolutely agree with that. And also, if I would like to add into this, especially entrepreneurs who are coming from a corporate culture in there. So I don't know if it is everywhere, but sometimes I really kind of felt that when you are, let's say, handling a big project, you are kind of synonymous with, okay, this person is leading that project, but then you also are kind of burnt out in handling that project, and then you are recommended that you can probably hand over a portion of your project to another one of your colleague, but then there is a kind of fear of losing that control, plus that trust issue is there, that okay, what if that other person kind of takes away the thunder from me. I don't know whether it's valid or not, but personally, I think this happens, and
Yeah.
I would love to know your opinion on this.
Yes, absolutely. So, one of the things that I struggled with when I was first letting go of things and learning to delegate, and it was something that I quickly got over because I was burning the candle at both ends and I was so tired. I just knew I could not do it all anymore, or my health literally was going to suffer. So so that feeling that if you turn it over, they're gonna take it away from you, or they're gonna get the credit for something that you did, or something to that effect. I think that when we are working on projects, of course, it's our baby. It's our thing. We've been working on this thing for so long. We built it from nothing to where it is now. And so there's a lot of pride that goes into that. There's a lot of effort and time. And so of course that pride is justifiable because you did it. You built it. And now if you assign it to someone else, it's scary to think that they might actually get the credit for something that you actually did. But which I think is what you're saying, is the concerns that some people have. And I think that when if you think bigger about the project than just yourself and your input into it. But what actually matters is the success of the project. We of course, recognition is awesome, and of course, along the way, we love the pats on the back and that sort of thing for all of our hard work that we put into it. But the ultimate end goal should be the success of the project and the impact that that project has on the people that it's serving. So when we get ourself out of the picture, then it's a little bit easier to delegate and make sure you're surrounding yourself with the best team who can deliver the best project. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And personally also, I have noticed that when I delegate, it's not just to free up my time. It has actually kind of forced me to clarify what mattered most in my role. Maybe some of the loopholes, or some of the low hanging fruits which I am kind of unintentionally ignoring, or I didn't even realize it is there. So I absolutely agree with what you said.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so important to recognize that when we are responsible for so many different things, we don't have to be the ones to do all of the things. And in fact, by us trying to take on all of the things, we actually rob someone else of being able to operate in their gifts and skills and talents. And so we don't want to be robbers. We want to give people opportunities to thrive and to be successful and to achieve goals and accomplish goals and things like that, which they wouldn't be able to do if we didn't delegate them something to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. But again, once again, I think our listeners will once again have this question in their mind, which we kind of just discussed, that delegation is not just only outsourcing tasks, but it's about trusting others with your vision. And especially in the current scenario, I think it has become much more relevant to be addressed upon. So, how does effective delegation actually reshape an entrepreneur's relationship with the control and leadership?
So, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'll repeat it for you. So, how does effective delegation actually reshape an entrepreneur's relationship with control and leadership, especially with their team members and the people they are handing over the tasks to?
Yes. Oh, I love this question. Thank you for repeating it for me. So, when a, an executive or a project manager releases control of the all the different things that need to get done, not only do they free themselves up, to make space and time to do the things that are more important, but it also gives them an opportunity to stretch themselves out of their comfort zone into a new space that helps them to continue to grow personally and professionally. So, one of the things that delegation does is reveal who you are inside and what matters most to you. And once those things that are inside that you may not have even known was in there until it came time for you to delegate something. And then you realize you're having all these feelings and these emotions, and you're like, "What? Where is all of this coming from? Why am I feeling so afraid? Why am I feeling so anxious about letting go of this particular thing?" And it helps us do some self-reflection and introspection to figure out where that is coming from. And once that has been revealed, we can deal with it. Once that's been you get to the root of that issue, you can deal with it, and it makes you a wiser, more confident leader because you're no longer afraid to delegate because you've dealt with that issue that was within yourself.
Exactly. Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense, Rennie. Okay, now this is really interesting. So your agency, it supports everything. I mean, like admin work to podcast production also. That is
Yeah.
something I absolutely love. So what's one task entrepreneurs resist delegating? I mean, you must have observed, from your experiences, but you think they really should let go of sooner, but they're not doing that right now.
So, some of the things that they should let go of in order to get better time management and to allow people to be the expert in doing their thing, and allow themselves to scale. Because remember, you can't do everything yourself. You're just one person. And if you want to scale, or if you, as a business owner, or you want your project to really take off, you have to surround yourself with a team of people, and that will allow you more ability for strategic focus and more work-life balance, and is also empowering and increases the development of your team and yourself. So some of the first things that you can let go of are those things that are taking you away from income generating activities. So that looks like maybe email management, calendar management, trying to get a meeting with a person who's so busy that it takes 15 different emails back and forth to try to find a good time for you guys to meet. You don't have time for that. Those are things that can be delegated to your assistant. Travel arrangements. Should an executive who's being paid lots and lots of money be spending their time on Expedia or some travel website trying to find good deals for a flight? No, they should not. They should be doing the things that they are paid to do and that they are trained for and that bring the most value to the business. That's not where they need to be spending their time doing those things. Expense reports. When you come back from a trip, should you be the one putting all those expense reports, those receipts together to submit to your bookkeeper, accountant, or whatever? No, forward those things to your assistant and say, "Hey, this is the Uber from the airport to the hotel. Do the thing. Would you work your magic and get it where it's supposed to be?" Those are the kinds of things that you can delegate immediately. Take those things off of your plate so that you can spend that valuable time doing the things that add value and dollars to your bottom line.
That is that I think there's no argument to this. There's no argument to this. Um, Also, let's talk about the impact, Rennie. So, if you can share any particular case study or a success story where you have seen of an entrepreneur's life or business transforming because they embraced delegation, probably through hiring VAs or you know identifying the unique skills of their team members and delegating tasks accordingly.
Yes. So we have several case studies or impact statements on our website, as well as, just the ones that stand out to me. We have a client named Katie, and Katie is the owner of a software company that works with senior living communities. And she was a solopreneur for the longest time, doing all the marketing, all the payroll, managing the team, having all the project team meetings, checking the status of all the projects and all the HR related issues. She was wearing all the hats. And we had our paths had crossed several years ago, and then when I started, promoting the business, I sent a message out to all of my friends, and I was like, "Hey, I'm here, and if let me know if I can help you." And Katie said, "Well, maybe you might be able to help me." She said, "Because it takes me forever to do payroll because my team doesn't send in their, timesheets when they're supposed to, and then when they don't do that, then it backs me up. And then I have to calculate them into this spreadsheet to see how much money the contract has left in it against their timesheets. All these different things that she was doing. It was very manual, this process. And she said, if you could just take this off my plate, that would really help me a lot. So we took that over from her and we took, followed up with her team for their timesheets so that we got them in time to put them into the spreadsheets that she had created, and then when we gave it to her, she was able to just push one button in order to run payroll. And when she was able to do that and she realized the relief that she had gained from not having to do all the in the business work and just push a button to run payroll, it literally brought her to tears. And she said, "I cannot believe I have been doing everything by myself for so long, and I didn't have to." And so I said, "Katie, I'm so excited that we have partnered and we can take these things off your plate for you." And then eventually we ended up streamlining that process, automating a lot of the timekeeping system and the report running and that sort of thing. And it now is a smooth running, well oiled machine to get payroll processed.
That is so liberative, so liberating. Especially, when you mentioned that, like she was so emotional and she was in tears, realizing that all the time she was kind of putting her energy into something which could have been done by someone else. Um, I mean that is really liberating.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
get that feeling.
It is great, and we had a podcast producer client who said that his business has literally caught fire because he's been able to delegate so much to our podcast production team that he's now able to bring on more new business and new, hosts to produce, and if it weren't for him having a capable team in us, it would just be him doing all the shows, doing all the editing, doing all of the interviews, doing all the things, and he's just one person. But now he's got other people around him who can do all of that other work once the show is done, all of the, editing and the show notes and all of the clips for promoting and, the all the things that are post-production as well as even pre-production to make sure that the guests are ready, for the show and make sure they look good when they're on camera. He All of those things are things that we were able to take off of his plate so that he could just focus on being his best engineer self to produce a great show for his host. Oh,
Well, very
that's awesome.
Ah, great. Okay. So before we wrap up, Rennie, if our listeners they would like to connect with you and explore more about executive health now and connect with you as well personally to share their views and comments on this, what's the best way to do that?
Well, we're on all the socials. So on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. I also have a show on YouTube where people can get an idea of what a show looks like that we produce, and we're offering that as a service to our clients. So we're on all the socials at Executive Help Now. If someone is questioning whether or not they're ready for a VA, because some people think, well, I'm just a solopreneur and maybe I'm not ready for a VA and they have questions, they can text the letters VA now to 1-866-943-3591 and get a freebie, or we can also drop the link to it in the show notes, where they can find out or ask themselves a certain set of questions to determine whether or not they're ready for a VA and then what a virtual assistant can do for them. We have that as well. So there's so much that a virtual assistant can do. It's not just straight administrative or social media or podcasts. There's so many other things that a virtual assistant can take off of your plate. So definitely reach out to us on all the socials. Our website, of course, is executivehelpnow.org. We're reachable through that as well. And I look forward to meeting all of your audience members who have questions or curious or ready to get started with their own VA.
Lovely, lovely. I will make sure to have all the links in the show notes in there. And Renee, thank you so much for this empowering and liberating conversation. I think not only we have explored tools, but we kind of have been given a new perspective, fresh perspective to think about leadership and delegation. So thank you so much.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you. It's been great.
To all the entrepreneurs or the solopreneurs tuning in out there, maybe this is the time to ask yourself, what's one task that I can delegate today? And also, what I feel, and it's not just a generic statement, but what I realize, letting go isn't a weakness; it is wisdom. So don't forget to check out the show notes to connect with Rennie and explore Executive Health Now for more resources. And as always, thank you to all of you for tuning into the BizBlend and help us blend big ideas with purpose here. Thank you so much.